Today we are basically going to talk about a couple things in the news, and then we're going to talk about why and how I borked my system. So without further ado, let's take a look at the news. Today, not today, the other day, if you hadn't seen this, somebody was very, very creative and decided to make some awesome googly eyes on their 3080 RTX, and it is damn funny. I thought that was hilarious. I thought I would share that with you guys. Again, you can find that on our Instagram page and also on our Twitter page as well. On Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, and all that. So we're actually getting pretty close to Facebook having almost 7,000 actual users. So once we hit that 7,000, we're actually going to be doing a cool little giveaway. So make sure you stay tuned for that. That will be coming up again in the next, I think there's 112 people that have to follow us on Facebook in order to make it 7,000 officially. So if you or a friend or family or a dog or a cat or a rodent or whatever wants to follow and like and share and tweet on mods, that would be much appreciated. And we would also value, any sort of comment and complaint or concern that you guys have with us. So we would appreciate that. You might find some cool things like this lovely ditty, on there while you're gandering around. Other than that, there's another thing that I ended up seeing today. Actually, this is from Kevin from Origin PC. Today was the release of the Nintendo 64. That was 24 years ago, which makes me feel really old, but pretty cool. Very, very cool. It was a nice little, memory to have. Because I remember going and getting one of these. I think I got it for my No, not my birthday, for Christmas. Or something along those lines. One of the holidays or something like that. But we did actually get one brand new when it first came out. When I think there was 3 games that were out. Mario 64, Mario 64. It was Construction Blast something or other. I don't remember. You were a construction guy and you walk around and blow stuff up. And then there was one more. Oh, probably Wave Race, right? Everybody loved Wave Race. I mean, it's one of the best ones. And then if you beat it on hard throughout the whole tournament, you could get the dolphin. That was awesome. So, thanks everybody for being here. Again, sorry for the technical issues. We will actually discuss what the technical issues are in just a few minutes. One thing that I did notice today is that they are doing Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War Zombies is going to have it in there. You're going to have actual zombies, which was kind of cool. I guess, as long as it's not like 250 gigs like the other one is, but whatever. Supposedly it's supposed to release on November 13th. That's coming up here in the next, couple months here. Couple weeks. I'm more excited for Star Wars Squadrons, but that's beside the point. I did want to share this with you, that they will have zombies during the Cold War, which didn't actually happen. There weren't zombies during the Cold War, but in Black Ops, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, there will be zombies, and you can fight against them with your mates. That should be kind of cool. So the whole reason that I am delayed and why I didn't make it on time is, well, the question of the day, right? The question of the day is, well, can it play Crysis, right? A lot of people have been wondering, with the whole remake on Crysis and having really good systems and having decent hardware and whatnot, why can't we get past 60 frames or 90 frames even a second when you're doing Crysis, when you're playing the remastered version of Crysis? I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, it doesn't really look all that great. It's not like they remade it and the textures were like amazing and again, Red Dead Redemption 2 fully loaded, like blasted with all the graphics cranked up to 1,000,000, looks way better than Crysis Remastered. So not really sure what the hell issue is, what the problem is, but that is actually why I am delayed. And the reason that I was delayed was because once you get into the rabbit hole of overclocking like I did, you start looking at numbers like this, and you go, oh man, wow, I gotta do something. This score number is not enough, and this FPS, no, not enough, and min FPS, oh my god, 9? Holy cow, we can't have that, right? That's unacceptable. So what ended up happening is that this afternoon, a good friend of ours, Dave, actually has been incredibly helpful in helping me get this 7900X overclocked more than 3.3 to actually be stable and to run and to get us some more frames in Crysis, because, well, Crysis shouldn't be that bad. I'm sorry. Like, Microsoft Flight Sim punches my 2080 in the face and like drags my 7900X across the floor. So a game that's almost 10 years old should not do that. Even if it is remastered. I don't care who you are. You know, remaster a game that's fantastic, but make it work with all hardware, you know, and make it smooth, make it nice. And like, I get it. You know, Crysis was that benchmark, and that's why we have the memes of, oh, can it run Crysis? And that's why a lot of people say that. However, there's no reason $1,000 plus video card, $1,000 plus chip should lack in any way, shape, or form. And it's not like I'm putting it at 4K. I'm actually only running it at 2K, 144 hertz. So there really shouldn't be any lapse here. So what ended up happening is that I started tinkering around and started screwing with stuff and found out a couple different things. First off, EVGA Precision has a tax on it, so it is actually using part of your performance when you're using it. So I highly recommend not using that program. I love EVGA for all sorts of different things. However, MSI Afterburner has a smaller footprint when it comes to the overall monitoring of the system and actual overclocks and everything like that. On top of that, MSI Afterburner has a built-in overclock per se. What it'll do is it'll go through and it'll scan and it'll run each core and your megahertz and all sorts of stuff on the actual graphics card itself, and then start to push it a little bit more to get you a better clock, right? So that's kind of what I started doing. Unfortunately, I didn't really know what the hell I was doing. I mean, I'm old school overclocker where you actually have like the multiplication tables and have to your multipliers and your that's where I come from. You know, Q6700 type of overclocking. The new chips are a little bit different. On top of that, the new cards are way different. So you can relatively get about 1,000, well, not 1,000, but about 500 megahertz 500 megahertz increase over the memory of the graphics card without having any sort of issues. Usually, especially on the 2 series cards, the 20 series, 2080s, 2080 Ti's and stuff like that, you can push them pretty good. Once you get past the 500 mark-ish, about 500, there's not going to be really much yield return for pushing it that far. And the 20 series cards are not really well known for holding more than 500 megahertz for a long period of time. There are issues with the cards when it comes to overclocking like that. That has been posted all over the place. That, you know, Jace2Sense has talked about it, Gamers Nexus, all of these other people. And now, obviously, with the 30 series, people aren't really too worried about it now because they're mostly focusing on the 30 series cards and how broken those are. That being said, I still want to push my 2080 Ti to the limit to make sure that I can actually play Crysis, at least smooth. You know, I don't really care if it's at 4K, 2K at 144 or 120 hertz is still probably just fine. But again, without it cranked up to a maximum on everything like that, I'm still only getting 45, maybe 60 at max frames. You know, when you're out on the beach rolling around with the big mountain in the background and stuff like that. So what I ended up doing is starting and running some benchmarks. I obviously am running a very old but a well-known benchmark, Heaven. And I was just, all that I was doing on this particular benchmark was tweaking the score, or tweaking the memory, because I don't really know a whole heck of a lot with the 20 series cards. They are very picky. They're very, if you get a good one that will overclock, it will overclock relatively well. If you get one that's not so great, it won't overclock worth a damn at all. Yeah, Ethan. Yeah, my Zotac 2080 can't overclock the core clock or anything. 25 megahertz will crash it. Yeah, and I get that. I totally get that. You know, it's unfortunate that that's the way that it is. However, I'm now slowly learning the whole process of this, the new process of overclocking, which can be utterly frustrating. Hence, well, why I'm late for the stream. We honestly, Dave and I just went through for about 2 hours screwing around with the 7900X and messing with it and trying to get everything dialed in, right? So I had 3.3. It had the boost clock enabled, which was like 3.9. Right, and that's the stock boost clock. Okay, all right, fine. So we wanted to boost it a little bit more, and so we went to 4.5, and that was actually good. However, it was way too hot. So one thing I didn't realize is that each core gets clocked a little bit differently, which I again didn't know that. I didn't know that having a CPU that has multiple cores on it, you'll have dedicated cores that are a lot faster than other ones and that will run a lot hotter than other ones. So we kind of figured out, okay, certain cores need to be dialed back a little bit, other cores need to be pushed a little bit more, and we got it into a relatively happy place. Now, unfortunately, what ends up happening is that just because you're testing it and using benchmarks and stuff like that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be reliable if it makes it through multiple benchmarks. So to be perfectly honest with you, that 4.5 clock that we had dialed in real nice crashed like 7 times before I started the stream. And honestly, all I did was I opened up Chrome, I opened up OBS, I opened up Photoshop to change a couple different things, and boom, immediate crash. And then, okay, all right, so I'll dial it back a little bit. So you go to 4.3. Okay, dial it back, boom, boots up, immediate blue screen. Okay, all right, so 4.3 is not going to work, so why don't we just go back to 4.2, 4.0, something like that? No, nothing. I basically had to return back to stock in order to get any sort of stability, which is partly what I wanted to talk about is A, stability, B, the trials and tribulations that we have while you're doing overclocking, and C, how to do it properly. One being, the first being, okay, trials and tribulations of overclocking. It's very frustrating. It is imperative that you have a backup of your BIOS if you're going to be flashing BIOS and updating and doing that type of thing. That is definitely helpful. It's also going to be mind-numbing after a while because all you're doing is you're changing a little bit of value, hit go, let it run, see what happens. If it crashes, all right, then you dial it back. Once you find a happy medium, then you have to push it even more. So it's a lot of testing. It's a lot of figuring it out where your computer and where your where your hardware is going to be happy. That takes time. 2 hours was nowhere near enough time for us to actually have that dialed in correctly. So, that being said, I was like, all right, well, let's start doing some more of the graphics card stuff. That also takes time because now you're not only messing around with clock speeds of the actual, the core GPU, but then you're messing around with the memory as well. And then you have to worry about voltage, and then you have to worry about this, and you have to worry about that. So first being the first thing to say is it's going to take a long time. It is not a quick process. It does not happen overnight. And even when you do get it dialed in and you think everything's good, you're going to open that one program that is just going to make it poop. Nope, just done. It's over. It pooped itself, So you might as well just go clean it up and get yourself some baby wipes because that's the type of anger you're going to have. You're going to poop yourself. That being said, the next thing is having software that actually works and is reliable is a very, very big thing. So between EVGA Precision, MSI, there's a couple other ones that are out there. I prefer OCCT. Which was, again, turned on to me by my friend Dave. Thank you again for helping me out with all of this. They do quite a bit of monitoring and all sorts of good things that are actually included inside of this the software here. You can see the voltages, you can see the fan curves, you can see how much of the actual each individual core is being used, what the maximum usage is, you know, all sorts of different really nice features. I never really heard of it. Again, Dave, huge help, so I appreciate that. But this is one of the nicer overclocking monitoring tools that I've used. Again, it's very friendly, it's helpful, and you can click go and just let it rip, and within a couple minutes you'll know if you're doing it right or if you should really back it off. You'll see, you know, voltages, temperatures, clock speeds, how much power consumption is actually using, how fast your fans are going. So having good software is a very big thing. Having patience is another very big thing, because you're going to have headaches trying to figure out why the hell this didn't work. I just ran Cinebench 15 like 5 frickin' times and it worked just fine, and then I open up Photoshop and it insta crashes. Okay, you know, it's going to be a mental game for you as well as for the computer, because you're going to have to figure out what works best for it. So it's kind of a painstaking type of task. However, you can actually make some serious improvements. So prior to this stream, right, the whole reason that I started this whole adventure was because of Crysis. There's no reason it shouldn't run. It should run fine. It should just be good. Well, it didn't. It didn't run fine. It was running like trash. So I was like, all right, well, let's overclock the crap out of this computer. Let's overclock the graphics card and let's make it run. It did help significantly. Base frame rates were like anywhere from 50 up to 70, which was great. Still standing in the exact same spot as I was before. Prior to that, I was only getting like 30, maybe 40. And so overall, it definitely helped. However, that came with a price. I was late to the stream because, well, I opened up Photoshop to edit a photo and it was like, yep, and then it pooped itself, and that was it. You know, go to the bathroom, clean yourself up, because nothing you can do about it, really. So overclocking is a pain. However, it is helpful, it is useful, and for Crysis and for Crysis' sake, maybe there will be some improvement. So that's what we're going to do, is continue dialing it in, trying to figure out what is the best for this actual CPU. And again, each CPU and each graphics card and each set of RAM is going to be different. So this is my own personal experience, and it might not be your experience. You might have the ability to just go, yeah, 1,000 megahertz, boom, and it works. I don't know how the hell that would actually happen. However, it might. I don't suggest starting with 1,000 megahertz either. I think that's a terrible idea. However, it might be different from me to you, and it is going to be different depending on what your hardware is and what chip you have and what graphics card you have and when you bought it and what manufacturer and all of this other stuff. So there's a lot of things that go into overclocking and upgrading and all sorts of things that it is mildly frustrating. Let's put it that way. Because to be perfectly honest with you, I'm only running on one monitor right now. One. I usually have 3 right here. And no, for some reason, I set it back to stock settings, went back into BIOS, hit default, yup, XMP profile, yup, save, and here we are. One monitor. But hey, whatever. What are you going to do, right? You learn from the process, you listen to other people. You hear what they go through, you try and do some more research, you try other things out, and you see what you can come up with. I'm hoping by the end of the day, maybe we can figure out how to dial this back a little bit more, because again, 4.5 was working. Now it's not. I don't know. So again, reliable software, that's a huge thing. Patience, that's a huge thing. And having consistency, that's another huge thing. It's troubleshooting. You know, so if you're, I guess what it comes down to is it's like your car, right? So if you start hearing a clicking noise while you're driving, you know, but it doesn't happen at certain speeds, but it happens at other speeds, you're not just going to go automatically change the brakes and the tires at the same time, and brake lines? You have no idea. You have no clue. So you have to kind of pick and choose what you're going to attack first to figure out if that is actually the problem, and then move on to the next thing. If you start throwing in multiple variables all at the same time, you're SOL. It's awful. So I'm going to read the chat now because I've been looking at the camera, which is over here. Usually the chat's right in front of me, so I can just kind of glance back and forth, but it's not. It's way the heck over here. So let me see what I got here. Mind numbing is definitely the best way to put it. Prime 95 equals prime poop. Yes, I would agree with that. Now knowing about this lovely OCCT, thank you, Dave. Appreciate it. Getting a good stable overclock can definitely take weeks because, as you said, one program can break it all for no discernible reason. Yeah, exactly. Photoshop just decided, nope, not going to happen. So, somebody had asked about something else. What do we got here? I'm curious about the Occt computer Airplex radiators. I don't see too much of them anywhere. Yeah, so Occt Computer, if you didn't know, makes everything pretty much by hand in Germany. And a lot of it is made to order, very similar to Watercool. So having multiple Airplex radiators in stock on hand is very, very rare for us. And as soon as they do come in, they're gone, just like that. Just like Watercool is here too. We get Watercool product in and bam, gone, all gone. So if you're looking to pre-order something like that, like an actual, pre-order an Airplex or something like that, just send us an email to support@ModMyMods.com, and we will do our best to get you taken care of. Get you at least on the list, so that our next shipment that is coming in, you'll be able to take part and get in some parts. What is this patience thing you speak of? Yeah. Patience is a virtue, catch it if you can. Seldom found in a woman and never in a man. And definitely not in BIGKevin. I want it now. I want it now. Yeah, alright, anyways. So yeah, overclocking takes major patience. It took like a month of dicking around with my 8700K to get 5.4 on a formula. When I put 32 gigs at 3200 megahertz, I couldn't even get back to 5.4, even to this day. Mr. James Daly. Yeah, no, I hear you, man. I get it. There's certain things like I said, Q6700, it was a 2.2 or something like that, and I had it overclocked to 4.3. And that was way back in the day. Now in the modern day, it's a little bit more tricky to get it to work correctly. So I think you need to bump vMesh. Since we bumped the cache at 32, that is a very, very good possible. Adam says AVX offset. Yes, we did have the AVX offset to negative. Yeah, exactly what Dave's saying. We had it to -3 and a -5, and it helped. But gigabytes UEIF though is not as straightforward as ASUS, which I understand that. So settings, core, voltage, accessory spread across. Yeah, it's multiple menus, and it's kind of annoying to jump back and forth, all the time and trying to figure out what's going on. So you mean your entire life troubleshooting has gotten me to realize I can't push myself beyond my own overclock. It's time to dial it back to my stock settings. I want to not overclock as much as I am, but you gotta feed the beast, right? You gotta feed the addiction, because you gotta overclock, man. You gotta be faster. I want better scores, and I want this number that's right here. I want that score number. I want it to go up, right? And that's what pretty much everybody wants. So again, screwing around, messing around, I did get a little bit of an increase. I was able to get from 2696 to 2700 or 2708, which isn't terrible. It was a 2080 Ti, and all I did was I was overclocking the memory quite a bit. I actually pushed it way past what it was supposed to. I think it was at 975 on top of what it was. So it was what is it? Yeah, 7970 was what the actual sorry, 7975 was the actual megahertz clock on the graphics card, which is, again, way high. And once you get past that 500 megahertz mark, again, you start to basically run into issues. And then every time you're using it at that clock, you're going to have to start counting your blessings or pray to whatever god you want to pray to, because that thing ain't gonna last for that long. That's for sure. So let me look back here. 2020 is not even stock. It's like safe mode in real life. Yeah, exactly. You're absolutely. 2020 is like your family computer once you found LimeWire. All I wanted was the song by Papa Roach, and instead I got the Trojan, horse 32, whatever the hell that stupid virus was that everybody ended up getting. So, yeah, I meant the charity. I overclocked myself too high, and I felt like I was going to blue screen. Time to roll 36 bills out. Now, yeah. Dude, Travis, you do some incredible work. Let me tell you, the fact that you're able to that you did pump out 36 builds by the end of this year is freaking unbelievable. And it wasn't just like regular builds, it was like high-end crazy builds. So more props to you. But yes, maybe in real life you turn it down just a tad, okay, just a little bit. That's all. Every time I try to run overclock on my system, I get an error. Brand new motherboard. RX 580, 32 gigs of RAM. I can't get overclock the system. There must be a bug somewhere in the system. And that's something that you just have to learn over time, because it's so different for every different time and every different product and everything like that. So it's unbelievable. And now again, with all of this, we have auto overclock software and stuff like that. That's just, yeah, it'll give you a good baseline, but who knows if it's going to be actually stable, or if it's going to work right, or if it's even giving you the performance that it's supposed to. So, I understand. I get it, Robert. I get it. 2080 Ti memory fails early and often. Some people underclock them. Yeah, me. Hold my beer. Yeah, exactly. Send it. Dave and I were talking about it. It's like boosting a car, right? So stock boost is like 7 pounds. Nah, let's send it to 23, man. Did you put any more fuel in there, or a bigger exhaust or intake or anything? No. Just boost it more. No. That doesn't work. Okay, it's the same thing with computers. You can't just full send without giving it the proper pat on the ass that it needs in order to actually get it up there. So, those auto overclock usually pump a ton of voltage even when it's not needed. Yeah, auto voltage. I forgot. Dave and I were talking about the EVGA motherboard and how they have the auto overclock thing, right? And forgot what it was, but he was saying, yeah, just send all cores 1.45. It's fine. Just send it to all the cores right now. And it's like, that, no. That, don't do that. That's a bad idea. It works until it doesn't. Yeah, exactly. And as you can see, I'm late to the show, and it's because it didn't work. So, Derek, hey, thanks for joining us, man. I appreciate it. We're talking about overclocking and how it can really suck sometimes, like bad. And unfortunately, the only reason that I'm overclocking, actually, funny enough, Derek was around when he and I were growing up, when we were overclocking for Crysis. The first time around, and I know he remembers me yelling and screaming about why doesn't this work? It should work fine. There's no reason. But what are you going to do, right? You have to learn how to get different things to work together, and different clocks and speeds and multipliers and all that stuff, and actually make it happen. So, puts a Jeg sticker on it. 20 more horse. Yeah, exactly. Or one of those tornado intake things that you jam in there that eventually is going to go in your throttle body. It's not bad. It pumped it to 1.7 volts. Oh my god. Yeah, no. 1.7 volts on a brand new 10 series chip. I want to go cry. Again, go visit the bathroom, because you probably just pooped yourself after that happened. Because to be honest, that's what I would have done. Holy cow. The Type R sticker's like 30. And then you call Jake from State Farm because you broke it. No, you called Jake from State Farm because you just burned your house down. Like, it's that's really, really bad. So auto overclocking stuff's probably not the greatest thing in the world, to be honest with you. Do some research, try and figure it out yourself. It will be more beneficial to you in the end than using those, because again, they're just full send, kind of like me, BIGKevin, full send always. And I'm learning to turn it down. Got to turn it down just a little bit, and it won't be too bad. But that is pretty much what I wanted to talk about, and how, again, I was able to increase that score. That's a pretty hefty jump, right? No, it's not. It's not really that bad. I mean, I got, what, 10 points on my score. Sick! Yes, 10 points! Some people might be excited about that. Not so much here. Okay, I want 100 points. I want 1,000 points, and that's okay. You know, strive for the best, but just realize that your graphics card or your CPU or your hardware itself might not give you the best. It's the luck of the draw. That's why they call it the Silicon Lottery. You know, you never know what type of chip you're going to get. Hell, I'm even impressed that I was able to get the 7900X to 4.5. That's still pretty incredible to me. So it will always differentiate between manufacturer, hardware, and all that type of stuff. But you know, luck of the draw. So I'm going to continue tweaking, messing around, trying to see if I can, you know, burn the studio down with this 7900X and 2080 Ti and see what happens. You know, honestly, all I want back is my frickin' monitor right now, but that's beside the point. Yeah, you know, baby steps, right? Burn the CPU out first and then get the monitor back. But regardless, that is pretty much all I had today. I wanted to share that with you guys. Again, overclocking is fun, but it is also painstaking and mind-numbing and can be utterly frustrating. Just don't let it get to you. Things will work out eventually, or they won't work out, but be prepared for them not to work out, because then you won't be disappointed, right? So hopefully on Friday I will have better information and a better outlook on this whole thing, because right now I'm pretty heated. Literally, I'm sweating. That's how heated I am. It's unbelievable. But again, I appreciate everybody joining me for this afternoon's ModMyMods news update. Again, we'll be back on Friday. We'll have some more goodies to talk about. Hopefully some better news than my computer crashing all the time. And I will try and be on time for Friday. We'll see what happens. Lord willing and the creek don't rise, right? That's what my grandma used to always say. So, again, thanks for joining me this afternoon. I appreciate you all being here. You could be anywhere else, but you are here, and I thoroughly appreciate that. We will see you on Friday. Take care.